Hi, this is Damon Pistolka, host of The Faces of Business, where I talk with interesting people, sharing life and business experiences to entertain, engage, build community, and provide information to help others succeed. If you're interested in learning more about one of our guests or how we are helping business owners generate wealth and build businesses they can sell or succeed at Exit Your Way, you can find more information on our website, exityourway.com, or by contacting me directly, Damon at exityourway.com. I hope you enjoy the show. All right, everyone. Welcome once again to the Faces of Business. I am your host, Damon Pistolka, and I am excited for our guest today because we have none other than Jan Barlow with us today. And we're going to be talking about enhancing workplace well-being by aligning roles with employee strength. Jan, thanks for being here today.
My friend Damon, I'm so excited to join you today. Thanks for inviting me.
It is going to be a lot of fun here. And I want to, first of all, we like to start out our show by understanding, Jan, how did you get into helping people align roles and people with fit in business?
It started when I actually created my own job at a global pharmaceutical company. I was in sales and marketing. And I found myself at trade shows helping our clinical team do demos, right? And so the salespeople, they're like, I don't know what to do with this thing. So I'm like, this is not hard, right? So I literally, because I was bored, I actually got a clinical COMT, certified medical ophthalmic medical technician, right? Certification. So I could teach doctors how to perform surgery. So LASIK. Right. And then I could also teach them how to close patients, right? Because it was pathology versus retail. We were selling an elective surgery. That was, at that time, they were charging $4,000 to $5,000 out of pocket. So I literally could sell them the $500,000 laser, train the doctor and staff on how to perform the surgery, and then teach them how to close the patients. So I literally created my own job there, but also it helped me with the teams of finding the right people on the team, right? The patient flow, how to, because throughput on the laser depended on how many patients you can do, right? It's production. That's really what it is. It's manufacturing. So I really gained my experience there and made my name there, hired by our biggest competitor. They were merging with two other companies to create a new division. So believe it or not, not many people would be that smart to purchase two companies and merge them for one department. But they hired me because I could do all three of those jobs, right? And we could keep on that sales process. And every 120 days, we could be making some money here, right? We didn't have that downtime as much while that merger and that whole transition was going on. So it was great. I had a great manager that I knew from the industry. 2 months later, Damon, they moved her, put somebody else in the job. And that person changed my whole job description. So that went south real quick. So I got real stressed. I was like, what do you mean I got to do Excel spreadsheets? What merge? I didn't even know that my computer, that I didn't have the software to do those spreadsheets. Right? And I'm like, okay, that doesn't make us money. I mean, that really wasn't, but the underlying intention wasn't to make money, right? It was to just pretty much get me to quit. Well, I have my dad was a Marine, so I got to be honest, Damon. I just thought I had to try harder. So unfortunately, after 7 or 8 months, I mean, my hair was falling out, my palms were peeling. It was not good. And to be honest, I lost everything. I walked away from the job. I just said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And it just really, my whole life crashed. And then after that, when I was really looking at my life, I said, what do I feel called to do? Well, I felt called to make sure that nobody else experienced what I went through. And that's why I started Better Job Fit.
Nice. Nice. It's interesting. It is interesting how I think people that have gone through mergers or gone through significant job changes in their life, and even like you said, some leadership changes, that really it can turn a really good opportunity into something that totally doesn't fit. Just as like, ugh, drives you crazy.
Well, it wasn't good for the company either. I mean, but there was so much chaos going on, as you all know, during the time, like everybody's concerned about their own job. So there's nobody watching the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so it's total chaos. So it wasn't on anybody's radar.
Yeah. Yeah. So you decided to walk away. Tough experience. What really was the switch that flipped and said, I want to start my own company to do this?
It really, when I thought about, I was feeling very vulnerable. I mean, after losing everything, car, house, marriage, everything, I'm like, who can I help? If you want to lift yourself up, you go into service mode. Who can I serve? Mm-hmm. That's just the, common, human nature. So to me, I had friends that were CEOs or founders of veteran organizations and foster care alumni. So I took my skill set and science, right, the AI piece that I had been using, and said, I'm going to help those populations because, when it comes to transitioning from the military into the private sector, a lot of people assume that the military gives them the support. It's like your kids transitioning from high school to college, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, but to them, it's been a lifetime or a long period of time that they've been in that culture or that environment. So when they're turned out to the general public or private life, there are no rules, right? Yeah. There's no structure. So same as foster care. So I was able to pretty much start Better Job Fit. We were the job matching program that helped deepen the relationship with companies and with the nonprofit organization to create true sustainable job matching opportunities.
Nice. So as you're helping these veterans as they transition out at that point in time, what were some of the things that really, really uplifted and helped you to keep going forward?
I think just seeing how, especially veterans, I mean, when in the foster care, when they were being transitioned out to the private sector, and I'd hear the stories because I'd be part of the groups, right? They would meet weekly or monthly, and I'd hear the stories. And it made me mad. I'm like, this system needs to change. This is broken. It's been broken for a long time, right? Yeah. And so I said, when you think about living your legacy, Damon, that's how I look at it. I'm not going to leave a legacy. I want to live one.
There you go. Live my legacy. Yeah, write that down. That's awesome. So from then until now, let's talk a little bit about your journey from then until now and some of the things you've learned and some of the exciting things that you get to do today.
I think I took a lot of lessons from when I was starting those ophthalmic practices, right? Because there really are many startups. Even though a doctor may have a pathology practice, he's been in business. As you know, when you start any department or new venture, right, that becomes a startup within that organization. So really, I had fun doing that. And so what I just did was take that piece of startups with ophthalmologists and transferred that to, really the veteran and the foster care space. So really helped the those organizations create a model to which they could have a deeper relationship with the companies that were already partnering with them. So we created a sustainable job matching model to where the foster care or veteran nonprofit organization became the recruiting source for the companies. So it literally created a holistic relationship to where the companies were truly going to the nonprofit as their recruiting source.
Wow. So in that situation, then you were helping the people looking for a job to identify the best roles where they would be, be the happiest, most productive, and really fit the best. And then you were helping the agencies, helping these people transition into a job, really match them with the right opportunities.
Yeah. And it was all within the companies that were already supporting those nonprofits, right, with a check.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but we got, especially the last few years, donor fatigue is huge.
Yes. Yes.
And so what we really like to say is it's not about there's a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. And so that was one of the biggest things when we started to share what we do with Better Job Fit and how we created this social impact model that truly has been really, it's a great reform, so to speak. It's just really creating holistic relationships. Companies are used to stroking a check, give it to the nonprofit, they get a receipt. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? We're able to give them back something.
Yeah.
So when they write a check, so to speak, for the job matching assessments for the stakeholders, we're able to create custom job match patterns for any position that they have open, and we're able to match those people back at them. So that's kind of how we love doing it.
Well, yeah, because hiring people has not gotten easier. That's certainly in the last 5 or so years, and being able to give these employers new sources of talented people that already are kind of pre-screened to fit in the roles. That has to be quite a relationship.
Well, and what's interesting is it's different. Okay. So, the beauty of job matching is that it has nothing to do with your age, race, socioeconomic situation, has nothing to do with that. And this is science, technology that's been out for 30 plus years. But HR or traditional HR is afraid of it because I got to be honest, they think it's going to eliminate their job.
Yeah.
And really, it just upped their human game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my experience in hiring, fair amount of people over the years, both in all levels in organization, it's not easy. It's not easy identifying someone that you think is a good fit for a role and they're totally the wrong fit. And it's so hard. It's just super hard. I would think that when companies start to learn about this, that it makes a big difference for them.
I got to be honest, it's 1/3 of the decision-making process, but it gives you the objective information that you have no way of getting unless you've worked with the person for a year.
Yeah.
We're able to cut that time down in half.
Yeah.
Really less than that, because you're going to get information about the person before they start the job.
Yes. So what are some of the things that employers tell you that they're really see valuable in the process, or that they're surprised by in the process?
We like to work with hiring managers or the C-suite because they're the ones that feel the pain.
Yeah.
HR does not. I got to be honest. A lot of people think, because it's hiring, we'll send that to HR. That's not who will suffer the pain, who experiences the pain. It's the candidate and the hiring manager.
Yeah.
Right. And that's who we like to really work with, because those are the people that it makes the difference to.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the feedback you get from the hiring managers when you're talking with them after they've seen a few candidates come through the process, they're doing their interviews and things? What do they say about it?
Well, can I share a little story with you?
Yeah, it'd be great.
So I had this one nonprofit organization. They're over 100 years old. They
Wow.
knew the process,
Mm-hmm.
right? Worked with them before. And I got a call. They said, Jan, we want to hire for a new position, new position. We want to create this new position. I said, okay, we got to create a custom job match pattern for it first. It asks questions like, does the job require college level math? Specific. This isn't about a job description.
Yeah.
This is asking specific questions. What does success look like for that job? What does it require every day?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different, right? That's a whole different ballgame.
Yes.
So she said, okay, I'll call you. So I kept on sending her emails, whatever, follow up, no response. Finally get a call. She says, hey, wanted to let you know I hired somebody already. Okay. So we had him take the job matching assessment. We did, we had the job match pattern. The person was a 67% match.
Not so good.
We only take 85% and above. Yeah. So I'm like, holy moly, what do I do with this? I mean, I can't do anything. Like what,
yeah.
How do I can't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So after talking myself off the ledge, I said, okay, what can I do to provide value to my client, right? And to this new person, because this isn't going to bode well for this person.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and the sad part about it is the client went to him and recruited him directly. She got that person from her previous employer. She never worked with him. She worked with somebody that worked with him. So she went to him. So he wasn't even looking for a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she went specifically, talked him from leaving his current position, said he would be great for that job. So we sat down and we did what's called the managerial fit report.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to show, when it comes to pace, decisiveness, all the 9 behaviors, right, that you deal with somebody during the time you work with them, right? Mm-hmm. There were 3 areas, very big gaps. So pace, decisiveness, and assertiveness between the manager and the new employee.
Yeah.
So there was going to be some we addressed resistance gaps. How do we work together when it comes to those gaps? Afterwards, she said to him, we need to thank Jan for being there. And he said, well, what do you mean? She pushed the report forward and she said, if I didn't know these things before now, I would have, in 6 months, I would have thought that you couldn't keep up and I'd have to fire you.
Yeah.
To me, that was the big deal.
Yeah.
Because you got somebody that quit their job based on somebody saying, you're great for this position. I know it.
Mm-hmm.
And now 6 months later, you fire me because now some reason I'm not a good match to the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. To me, anybody that's has been in work transition, been let go, been downsized, been laid off, that you go into that food, water, shelter mode.
Yeah.
Right. That's an emotional state. You can have a house, you can have money in the bank. It has nothing to do with that. It's that basic Maslow hierarchy of need.
Yeah. Your
brain is now scattered. And you can't think clearly. You can't see opportunity. You're paralyzed, right? So to me, it goes much deeper, right? So to answer your question in a long roundabout way, that was the response that we got.
Yeah. Well, that's good though, because one of the things that you mentioned there is you were brought in really after the fact but the job fit analysis that you do really help them to go through where the discrepancies or the challenges might be and address those before they got to be problems.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really valuable, I think, too, is because there's a lot of good people in organizations that may not be understood by their leaders well enough. And you help to bridge that gap between the person that's doing that and their leader, so they understood each other better and could continue down the road more productively.
Exactly. And the biggest piece there as well is, we were able to look at, there's a report called a multiple position report, and it shows we run it against every position we have, custom and generic match pattern in our library. So I was able to share with her how else she can leverage that person's strengths beyond just their job.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's another aspect that people say, oh, this person is okay. When it comes to their job, they're an okay performer. Well, guess what? You're leaving, if we did a match and maybe they're a 79% match to their job. Well, guess what? You're leaving the percentage, right? I mean, you're leaving how much percentage on the table of strengths and other ways that you can use that person. But unless you objectively know the different ways you can use that person in their job or even as an extension in your company, how would you know? It's like using a screwdriver. How many different ways can you use a screwdriver? Right? I mean, a screwdriver is purchased to screw a screw, right? I don't know about you, Damon, but I've used a screwdriver to pop a paint lid off and to use the handle to put it back on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of, and that's one of the things that when you said that, I was really thinking how valuable that would be, because if you did that with a team, say I've got a team of people that are working together and we go, oh, we need some help with this. And you look around the team, and if you knew that, you could say that, Steve is creative in this way, or would be, they've got really some talents here. They don't do it in their daily role because they're a good fit in that, but they also have talents here that we could utilize if the need came up.
Exactly. And how we like to use it is, we have companies that, excuse me, every position in their company, we have a customized job match to. So we have a manufacturing plant here in Dallas, a client that has like 80 employees. So they're growing fast, right? So what we did was, but what's interesting is his leadership team managers couldn't go on vacation because they don't have anybody to replace them, right? They don't have backup. And a lot of people, they're loyal employees. They've been working. It's a family-owned business. They don't take the vacation that they have. So what we did was we did job matching, right? And now we pull a list who is a match to the various jobs. So now we have actually two, every position has a backup, at least one backup. So they're able to take vacation when they want to take vacation, right?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Because that, I mean, again, just as we talked about, enhancing that workplace well-being doesn't necessarily mean, yes, you want to align fit, but you also want to let people take some time off, because that's as bad as anything for workplace well-being.
That, and also growing, right? Human beings, everything living grows and expands, right? I don't know where we're getting this idea that, hey, you're hired for this job, you're going to stay in it. Like, come on now. I mean, that is just so far, right? Like, we're beyond the Industrial Revolution. What we like is to go into a company and say, hey, especially to new hires, guess what? You're a match to 5 other positions in our company. We want to keep you. So at the end of 8 or 9 months, let's look at how many different positions in the company you're aligned with. And how about if we go and have you shadow 2 or 3 of these other positions, so you can see what's available in our company, what you might be interested in 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they were matched to multiple positions, again, you could create some backup redundancy. You could create a growth plan for that person if it was a lateral into another area where they could go up, or or an upward move they could make in the company. Yeah, that would really uncover a lot of great opportunities for you.
And we love the private equity, because especially if the company has, maybe they have 100 companies or 50 or 100 companies under their umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why not cross-pollinate? Like, why would, let's say that you're acquiring a company, and yeah, you might already have an accounting firm, or maybe you're outsourcing, the accounting firm, your accounting department to an outside. Well, why would you get rid of those people? Why? Why? That's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and you just paid for that intellectual property. Why not be able to match those people to other companies or other departments in the company that you just acquired? Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1/3 of a person's salary just to get to hire somebody. 1/3. That doesn't include training them, and then the expense of everybody else that's helping to train them, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very expensive process to hire people. And I think it's often overlooked because the dollars get baked in over time if you're not good at it, and they just think it's an operating cost, but it's in there.
Yeah.
And but that's a great observation too. And I know you've helped people do this. Talk a little bit about that, because in the worlds of company mergers, there oftentimes it's just some of the people are inevitably going to go because they're duplicate or something like that. And how does this really help them in that situation?
What I love about, for the people that are transitioning out, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we found is, especially if there is, I think it was like in 2018, we had a lot of HR people that were, those positions were being absorbed by other positions in the company, right? So we had a lot of HR people that were out of work. Well, they naturally kept on looking online for jobs
in HR
in the same position. And I'm like, okay, that is the example of insanity. Okay. So with our job matching ability, we're like, look, good point. COVID, right? We had the top, because we're connected to VC and private equity, we had the top 6 COVID, expanding industries, right? It was healthcare, telehealth, telemedicine. It was education. It was cybersecurity. I mean, there were 6 different types of industries that were booming. Well, we were able to take our job matching science and be able to cross-pollinate these people into those industries that were thriving.
Yeah.
Right? Outside their HR position. So how do you take, that's what is so great about it, is using that objective science to say, guess what? Your job was HR, compensation, benefits, but we had a person that she was a high match to sales and technology. Well, guess what? She got a position just from the way that we do our Boolean search, part of our process. She was able to garner a position with a startup tech company that sells software that helps companies identify what compensation or what health plans to purchase for their employees. So she was able to work in a sales position, a user experience, the back end of sales, right? So that's kind of how we leveraged her HR benefits, compensation benefits, leveraged her match to sales and technology to be able to transition her to a position like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think a lot of times people get, as you said, with those HR hiring managers that were out of work, they think, well, I've been an HR hiring manager, that's what I need to go do. And there are some times, and the better job fit analysis really helps these people to understand, well, I was in HR, but I'm really would be good at this as well. And it opens up new possibilities.
And I think that right there, we only know the 5% of what we think is possible or what we're a match at. And somebody else's belief system of us or limited perception of us is still 5%. That's what I love about our objective technology, because we're the 95% of that no other human being could know.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the most interesting thing you think you've learned by seeing this many people take these tests and really get the results from them? I mean, there have to be some interesting things you've gleaned from seeing these people and learning these things.
It's the one thing that everybody experiences first when they see the list of what they could be a potential match to. First is the shock, like they're trying to understand, how can I've been in HR, right?
Yeah,
Let's use that example. And that particular client saw the sales and technology, and her first response was, "Oh, I can't do that. Salespeople are pushy." Okay, let's unpack that belief system, right? Because that's the only thing that was blocking her from entertaining that as an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? Because the objective science is there. She's a 90% match, right? So we just that just skips everything. That just kind of puts you ahead of the class. We don't have to figure anything out. This is telling us, right? But that personal perception, limited perception of salespeople.
Yeah.
And and I said, "Did you have a bad experience or what?" "Well, no." Okay, what is it that's blocking your, belief in that? Well, everybody knows salespeople are pushy. And what's interesting, the behavior scale, one of the behavior is assertiveness scale, 1 to 10. Well, the 1 is unassuming. The 10 is forceful. She scored an 8.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We can't be objective about ourselves.
Yes.
That's why this tool is so important, right? Those assessments like Myers-Briggs and DISC, those aren't job matching tools. Those are asking you how you feel about yourself, right? Well, we already know we can't be objective. But what I think the biggest aha moment was with her was after I told her, I said, "Okay, on that scale of 1 to 10, you're an 8. If you score a 1 or a 10, you represent 2.5% of 140,000 people that were in this validation study. If you score a 9 or a 2, you represent 4.5%. If you score an 8 or a 3, you represent 7%. I said, so 93% of 140,000 people think you're pushy. That was the aha moment. I mean, so that right there is really the biggest, it's the biggest challenge, but the biggest aha moment. Once you can move beyond the limited belief of yourself, of what you think is possible or what your opportunities are, that's when the world opens up, Damon. It really does. And that's what's fulfilling for me.
Yeah, because you're helping people see things that, like you said, they couldn't see. And when you start to go through it the way you did, understanding the scales, where they're at, why it's saying what it is, people could then realize, oh yes, I see this now.
Well, and it was so revealing because I connected it to the experience I had at a global pharmaceutical company. I was in sales and clinical, right? But we were going for our 2nd generation FDA clinical approval. And you know how important that is to a company. They had already bought that company for $1 billion. It was the largest medical device acquisition back in 1999. So they already bought the farm, right, just to get that company.
Yeah.
And then 5 years later, they went for their second generation approval. Well, I'm in the middle between sales and clinical.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the FDA process that's called a red folder. So, they just pass this red folder and they have to do all these experiments and studies and tests and everything, right? Well, the clinical people that are all on the same behavior profile, they're all alike. Low on sociability, right? Low on I mean, there's no diversity in behavior there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sales is the total opposite.
Yeah.
So you have that resistance gap, right? Well, fast forward, I was trying to tell leadership, like, we got a problem here. Like this, we got to bring everybody together. And he said, why don't you just take them bowling? That doesn't work. So fast forward in 2018, really looking at this information and how it's transforming teams, and how that company lost. I mean, they lost their FDA clinical approval, David. So you know how much money that equates to.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking back to that, I trademarked what's called behavior diversity. Because when you see those resistance gaps, it's easy enough to bridge those resistance gaps, but you have to, really engage people in understanding themselves.
Yeah.
So that aha moment of, oh, now I understand that's how I am. And then now the second piece is, oh, now I can respect somebody else. That's a 2-step process that opens up a whole expansion, right?
Yeah. It's got to be really cool though when people, like you said, like the HR manager going into a completely different thing, and then it turning out well for them.
Well, what's interesting, it really isn't outside their bubble, because they were already dealing with other compensation benefits, that topic. They were already dealing with technology within her own company. She had to deal with that for her company. So now we just positioned her really in a company that it serves more HR people. So we really didn't, it's like positioning people really at a higher level. It's still doing the similar work. It's not so far out of their wheelhouse.
Yeah, it may seem different on the outside, but on the inside, it's the same components.
Exactly, and that's the biggest differentiator, is because most human beings can't see beyond that. They just see the job. Well, what job did you do before? I mean, you literally have to explain to a recruiter. You're the one that has to connect the dots of what you've done and how you fit the job that you're applying for. They don't know that. You can't assume that they know it.
Yeah. So are you seeing that more companies want to use this to retain the people they've got, like in situations that you said, like if we're going through, maybe we're doing a downsizing, or maybe we're doing a merger with another company. Do you think that people are, because of the hiring challenges over the past 3-4 years, do you think they're more willing to look at things like the better job fit analysis?
It's coming to a point now where they're feeling the pain.
Yes.
See, that's the difference. So we like to talk to different companies and share what we do. But they still are like, well, I'm not sure, like maybe you need to talk to our HR people. But the pain isn't as great yet. Right. Yeah. But I got to be honest, the pain is getting worse. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Yes. There are some roles that are so incredibly hard to hire for now. It's not the same roles that we saw, 3-4 years ago when the tech roles were so hard to fill and things. That I don't think those are as hard, but the ones in healthcare are tremendously difficult to hire for. Some of the specialized healthcare.
what I love to do is, those are the companies that I want to talk to and say, hey, let's create a custom job match pattern for that role. Let me run it against everything we got.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you, we could pull people, let's say that position is equal to a director of operations. Let's say that, so I can sit there and pull those different jobs,
Mm-hmm.
categories of positions that match that job, and
Yeah.
have a whole slew of people that have that skill set. They just call it a different role, right? That's what people get hung up on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it, because it could be a very valuable thing if you're trying to, hard to hire, but do we have anybody else that we could move in internally already, move into that role, and then hire into a different role potentially?
That's why we say that if everybody in the company, if every job has a custom job match pattern, every person has a job match profile, we run everybody against every position. Now you have a succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you not? Why would you not want to do that?
Yes.
Right.
A great point. Great point. Because your succession, the first part of your succession is identifying who it would be, and that could help you a lot in that process.
Well, and again, the growth of the individual, right?
Yes.
When you say to a person, hey, anybody, whether it's a new person coming in or you're existing, say, look, we want to keep you. All right. But we want you to feel challenged. We want you to grow and expand. How many employers say that to their employees?
Yeah, it's not nearly enough.
That's never hurt. Nobody says that.
Yeah. Not nearly enough. That's for sure.
Right.
For sure. Awesome stuff. Well, what do you have exciting coming up, Jan? This is awesome how you're helping people with a better job fit, the matching and really understanding what's going on there. But what do you have coming up that's exciting, that getting you fired up, or that people might want to go to?
I got to tell you, I want everybody to come to our workshop. We got a workshop on the 19th, 12 noon Central. I put the sign up link in there, I know you said you'll share it with everybody.
It's in the post for the event,
awesome.
So it's in there.
Awesome. We're doing a free workshop. It's really a great engagement session. We want to know what's going on with people who want to grow their business, what it takes to grow the business to the next level, and when you want to sell it. Maybe you want to sell it to P&E. What does that look like? What are you going to have to do to get that ready to sell, right? That you can work on now and put those processes in place. We talk a lot about how to take those people that are in your company. If you're going to sell, what can you do with them? What are the options? Plus, if you're the owner of that business, what next? We love working with entrepreneurs, business owners that are ready to, hey, let's sell, after I, take a few months off on the beach or whatever. A lot of people think, oh, I'm just going to lay on the beach, right? I've spoken to too many business owners that, they've taken a little break, but then they're bored.
Yes.
Right? It's what's next. People are living their legacy now, Damon. It's not about that word retire. There's too much living to do, too much impact to make.
Yes. I agree 100,000,000% on that, because there are so many business owners that sell or think they're going to sell their business. Oh, I'm going to go fish, or I'm going to retire, I'm going to play golf or something, and like you said, 6 months down the road, they're like, well, I never really imagined what it was like to play golf every day, and I don't like it every day. Right. Or I don't like, there's not enough projects that I can do around the home, and there really are some incredible legacy careers that you can do after, that are for social impact or your own impact, whatever you want to do. Start a new business that, is. And one of the things that's funniest ever is we got to help a number of years ago here now. It's been a number of years ago. One of the, I don't know, they got to be at least in the Inc. 500 private or publicly traded companies. The CEO from the company retired, He opened a bike shop.
See?
We helped him buy a bike shop, and he opened a bike shop, and he now he runs a bike shop. It's like, this is what I wanted to do. It's like, dude, you were flying in private jets. No, I want a bike shop. I like biking. I want a bike shop. I want to do it. Well, and these are the kind of things that you can do at that. When you've got other people that it's a whole the philanthropic thing that they can do. There's a lot of people that are just giving back and sharing the knowledge that they've had. And it's an awesome point in life when you can realize the benefits of having that business, and then turn around and do what you didn't think you could do while you had the business, but now you have the time.
That's exactly right, Damon. And you know what? We saw so many people transition to their next and wanted to do something for social impact, wanted to really live their legacy. We actually started a group last year called the Force Multipliers for Good. So nice. We literally have the group that is creating individually and collectively social impact through what their calling is. So we're really excited about that group as well.
Awesome. Well, Jan, if someone wants to reach out to you about better job fit, job matching, just trying to get the right people in the right roles so they're enhancing their workplace well-being, what's the best place, or what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Find me on LinkedIn. That's the first. That's easy as well. But also you can email me at jbarlow@betterjobfit.org. I want to schedule an appointment, a call with everybody, and be able to sit one-on-one, learn more about them, what's going on, in their bubble. I welcome that.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being here, Jan. I appreciate you stopping by. Again, we had Jan Barlow from Better Job Fit. She was here today talking about enhancing workplace well-being by aligning roles with employee strengths. Wow, such great information about what you're doing and how you're helping people really discover the resources they have under their own roof sometimes for people that can move into different roles. Just thank you so much for being here today.
My friend, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I also want to thank everyone that was in here in the comments today. I know I didn't get to you much, but Rhea, thanks for being here today. Jackie, thanks for being here today. Vikash, you were here, and there was others that didn't drop the comments. We appreciate you out there listening. I can see we had a lot of listeners online. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. And if you're in the U.S., have a great holiday weekend this weekend. Jan, hang out with me for a moment, and we'll finish up offline.
Awesome. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Have a great day, everyone.